There's a moment every intelligent man dreads. It's not when he gets rejected. It's not when he's ignored. It's when he watches her smile at him. The man who doesn't deserve her. The man who walks like he owns the room, because he doesn't realize he doesn't. You know the type. The guy with the shallow jokes, empty eyes, and an ego stitched together by Instagram likes. And yet he moves like a king, not because he earned the crown, but because he never questioned if he should wear one. Meanwhile, you stand in the corner, filled with depth, insight, thought, truth, and yet no one sees you, no one feels you. And the woman you hoped would notice? She's laughing with the man who lives in a world untouched by reflection. Why does this happen? Why do men with nothing to say speak the loudest and get the reward? It's not about intelligence. It's about performance. It's not about knowing yourself. It's about being seen. Because in this world, women don't choose the best man. They choose the one who makes power visible. And that's where the game changes. While you hesitate, he moves. While you prepare your perfect sentence, he makes her feel something. Even if it's reckless. Even if it's foolish. Because feeling beats logic. Every single time. It's not that he's confident. It's that he doesn't question whether he should be. And that is terrifyingly effective. The thinker becomes a prisoner of his own awareness. He questions everything, especially himself. And while he's thinking, the fool is claiming. He claims her laughter. He claims the space. He claims the moment. Not because he's earned it, but because he never believed he had to. This is the paradox of modern masculinity, where the brilliant man drowns in depth and the shallow man swims on the surface like he owns the ocean. And no one explained this contradiction better than Michel Foucault. He said, visibility is a trap. But the fool doesn't fear being seen. He craves it. He feeds on it. He never asks why he's being noticed, only how much louder he needs to be. And in a world ruled by optics, by first impressions, by social algorithms and curated personas, it is not truth that triumphs. It is theater. And in that theater, the role wins, not the soul. So while you sit there trying to be authentic, deep, virtuous, he's already halfway across the stage, acting like the star. And she's watching the performance. She doesn't know if it's real, but it makes her feel alive. And right now, that's all that matters. Imagine a room full of people. Some are speaking, some are watching, but only one man is commanding the space. He's not the smartest, not the wisest. He probably didn't read Foucault or even spell it right. But somehow, every eye is on him. He tells bad jokes. He exaggerates his stories. But he says it all with such conviction that you start to believe him. And that's the thing. Power isn't what you have. It's what you project. It's what others perceive when you step into a space and act like you belong there, even if you don't. Foucault never defined power as possession. He defined it as circulation. It flows, it moves, and it rewards those who aren't afraid to hold it, no matter how recklessly. The stupid man doesn't ask, "Do I have the right?" He asks, "What's stopping me?" And that absence of doubt is magnetic. The intelligent man, he carries a different burden. He's aware of how power works, too aware. So he calculates. He hesitates. He wonders if he's coming off too strong or not strong enough. By the time he decides how to enter the conversation, the loudmouth has already finished his punchline and stolen her attention. And that attention? It's not based on merit. It's based on movement. We live in what Foucault called a disciplinary society, where we are taught to regulate ourselves, to behave, to be polite, to be careful, to be modest. You were trained to seek permission before expressing desire. But he was never trained at all. He doesn't ask if he should speak. He just speaks. He doesn't ask how he should approach her. He just moves. And she, after years of polite conversations, filtered emotions, and controlled attention, suddenly feels the pull of something raw, unfiltered, undeniable. It's not that she respects his ignorance, it's that she feels his certainty. And in a world full of hesitant men and fractured attention, that certainty becomes seductive. The fool doesn't win because he's better. He wins because he's faster, because he's louder, because he doesn't stop to question the rules. And women, despite what they say about depth and sensitivity, are still drawn, not to depth itself, but to the feeling of gravity. You can have the best mind in the room, but if it never translates into motion, she'll never know. Foucault warned that systems of power create docile bodies, people who are so conditioned to follow norms, they police themselves. And what is hesitation, really? Self-policing, self-doubt, self-sabotage dressed up as responsibility. You wait for the right time. He makes it the right time. You craft the perfect phrase. He says the wrong one, confidently. And somehow, it works. Not because she's blind, but because she's tired. Tired of waiting for men who never take the stage. Tired of reading between the lines of a quiet soul. Tired of carrying the emotional burden of guessing how a man really feels. So when the fool walks in, loud and unapologetic, he feels like a break from the exhausting ambiguity of politeness. He doesn't win because he's smarter. He wins because he shows up. Before you do, here's what no one tells you. Women do notice intelligent men. They admire the way you think. They respect your insights. They're moved by your kindness, your depth, your restraint. But they don't feel you, because feeling doesn't come from the mind. It comes from presence. And presence isn't silent. Presence isn't polite. Presence isn't tucked away behind maybe later. Presence is felt in a room before words are even spoken. You, the intelligent man, are often absent, not because you're not there, but because you're not moving. Your thoughts are rich, but they stay inside. You're a lighthouse with the light turned inward. You believe love will recognize subtlety, but subtlety is invisible in a world addicted to spectacle. And this is the trap. Foucault didn't just talk about prisons. He talked about how people become prisoners of themselves. The most effective form of control, he said, is self-discipline. A person who censors himself is easier to rule than one who resists. And isn't that you? Always second-guessing. Always trying to get it right. Always waiting for the green light that never comes. But the stupid man? He never needed permission to begin with. He walks in like the world was waiting for him. And women feel that. They feel it like heat. Not because it's good, not because it's right, but because it's clear. He wants her, and he doesn't pretend otherwise. You want her too, but you package your desire in carefulness, wrapped in politeness, hidden under layers of analysis. You're waiting for the right moment, but she's responding to the right vibe. And the truth is, her body responds before her mind decides. She doesn't consciously choose the fool. But her nervous system feels something real and raw in him, the kind of rawness you've been taught to silence in yourself. He triggers something primal. You trigger something distant. And in a world where attention is currency, he cashes in. Meanwhile, you're left broke with a full vault of inner value. It's not that women don't want emotional depth. They just don't want to carry it for you. You've become a man who's too gentle to risk, too aware to act, too smart to move without a backup plan. And by the time your plan is ready, she's already gone. You stood still while he stepped forward. You held back while he reached out. You watched while he took, not because he deserved her, but because he wasn't afraid to ask. Foucault wrote, "Power is exercised rather than possessed." That means you can be brilliant, wise, deeply introspective, and still lose to the man who simply moves with intent. So here's the brutal truth. The performance of power outranks the origin of it. You keep hoping someone will look past the surface and discover your depth, But in the theater of desire, the audience doesn't look beneath the stage. They watch who's standing on it. And if you're still waiting in the wings, you'll never get your scene. Let's be clear. The stupid man is not winning because he's wise. He's winning because he's willing. Willing to be seen. Willing to fail. Willing to try without a manual. He doesn't study the system. He simply moves through it. And that movement, that audacity, it's his superpower. He doesn't fear judgment because he doesn't even notice it. He's too busy being present. You see every social cue, every risk, every potential misstep. You've been trained, conditioned to filter your every impulse. And in that filtering, you become safe. Safe, but forgettable. Because power is not safe. It's loud, messy, bold, sometimes even reckless, but never, ever invisible. Foucault taught that in modern systems, we're not chained by authority. We're shackled by expectations. The good man script you were handed, it wasn't written to empower you. It was written to control you, to make you doubt yourself, to hesitate, to sit quietly while the world is dominated by those who have no such inner leash. And that's the tragedy. You've confused obedience with virtue. You've mistaken your quietness for strength. But in the game of attraction, silence is not power. It's absence. The stupid man doesn't win because he has more value. He wins because he embodies value without questioning it. He touches her waist not after evaluating every ethical angle, but because he simply wants to. He enters her space with no script, no overthinking, just the raw voltage of undiluted intent. And while you prepare your thesis on respectful masculinity, he's already making her feel. And that, my friend, is the fatal difference. She doesn't want a man who just understands her. She wants a man who makes her forget everything else when he walks into the room. And the fool? He does that, not because he's gifted, but because he's unburdened. Unburdened by reflection. Unburdened by the fear of getting it wrong. Unburdened by the shame that you've swallowed your whole life. And to a woman raised in a culture of constant comparison, anxiety, and restraint, that boldness feels like freedom. She doesn't crave ignorance. She craves certainty. And the stupid man's ignorance looks like confidence because he never second guesses. And you, the intelligent man, wear your overthinking like armor. But it doesn't protect you. It hides you. You thought knowledge would make you powerful, but knowledge without action is just weight. Foucault warned us, the soul is the prison of the body. You've imprisoned your own desire, caged it in logic, tamed it with thought, and all the while, the fool is dancing, terribly. But he's dancing first. He's taking up space. He's laughing. He's living. And you're watching from the sidelines, wondering when it will be your turn. But turns are not given. They're taken. This isn't a call to become stupid. This is a call to become undeniable. To let go of the invisible scripts that told you being a nice guy is enough. It's not. Not in the theater of power. Not in the language of attraction. To win, you don't need less intelligence. You need more audacity. Because the man who moves boldly, flaws and all, will always outshine the man who waits to be perfect. There is a particular kind of pain that only thoughtful men know. The moment when you realize your greatest asset, your intelligence, your depth, your reflection, has not saved you. It has silenced you. You've spent your life believing that being good would be enough, that kindness would be rewarded, that understanding would be magnetic, that knowing would lead to being chosen. But in love, in desire, in the raw jungle of human instinct, it doesn't. Because desire doesn't reward what is good. It rewards what is felt. And you, my friend, have become a ghost of brilliance, a whisper of wisdom, a man with a galaxy inside, but no gravity to pull her in. Foucault warned us about this. He said power doesn't live in knowledge. It lives in the application of it. It lives in the way you occupy the moment. Knowledge is not made for understanding. It is made for cutting. You've collected insights like trophies, but you never learned how to use them like weapons. And while you sat refining your message, the stupid man, flawed, unaware, fearless, stepped into the arena and owned it. Not because he was better, but because he showed up without shame. That's what she felt. Not charm, not wit, certainty. He didn't wait to be invited. He didn't wait for her to recognize his value. He walked in like he was the value. And while you were still crafting your paragraph, he had already sparked something in her chest. Not because he's right, but because he's real, raw, unfiltered, felt. And that's the thing about power. It doesn't hide behind permission. It announces itself. It radiates. And now, you're left with the unbearable truth. You surrendered the moment you hesitated. You thought you were being respectful. You thought you were being cautious. But what she felt was distance. And the fool. He gave her presence. He made her laugh. He made her feel. He made her forget the world for a moment. Not because he's deep, but because he acted before depth was even required. And this is your choice now. You can keep hiding behind your brilliance, hoping one day someone will slow down enough to see you. Or you can step into the fire. You can drop the perfectionism, the paralysis, the obsession with being understood, and start making yourself felt. You don't need to become the fool. You need to become the actor. Because life isn't a classroom. It's a stage. And power, real power, is not asking for validation. It's walking into the moment like it already belongs to you. So here's your mission. Stop waiting. Start claiming. Stop whispering your worth. Start moving like a man who knows he's enough, before anyone says he is. Women are not choosing foolish men because they love stupidity. They're choosing them because those men understand something you don't. Presence beats potential. Always. So if you want to stop watching from the shadows, if you want to stop losing to men you know you surpass in depth, clarity, soul, you must become what you've always feared, seen, not perfect, not polished, seen. Because in the end, the world doesn't need another quiet genius. It needs a man who has the courage to show up fully. Flaws, fire and all. You already have the mind. Now bring the motion.